Hello everyone. This is a short video where I'm going to be explaining a bit about Git and how to use it for just doing simple version control. And Git can be kind of scary when you're first getting started with it. So this is just a simple explanation to show ways it might be useful and to explain how to deal with a common problem called merge conflicts that you can run into even if you're working by yourself. So the first thing you do here is you go into your folder with the hazard files that you want to keep track of, and right click and do git bash here. And you'll have to have git installed for this command to work, otherwise you won't get very far. So go ahead and do that if you don't have it downloaded already. And then what that does is it opens up a terminal in this directory. And so what you do is you do git status to see and realize that, oh, we haven't created a Git repository here yet. So Git isn't being used in this folder. So to make it originally, you do git init to start it. So now it has a Git repository. And so it doesn't look like anything showed up here. And if you go back in and refresh it, it doesn't show anything. But if you allow your Explorer to show hidden items, you see that there's now a .git directory inside here that's been secretly created. So we can go ahead and unhide that later. But basically that file has all the magic that lets Git work, but we don't need to worry about that right now because we only care about versioning the files that we make. So let's go ahead and make a new text file, and we'll just call it my file to keep track of different versions. Now I think that's long enough. All right, so if we open it up, we realize that since we just created it, there's nothing in here. And so it's just an empty file. And right now, if you'll notice here in the window, we'll see that we're on the master branch. So Git defaults to being on the master branch. So to show you how to make your first Git commit, which is like saving the state of your file. Like if you press save on a Microsoft Word document, imagine that every time you press save, it it keeps track of that. So you can go back at any point in time to any save state. And that's the point of committing, is to keep track of different states of your file, which can be useful if you realize you made a mistake and you want to go back to it, or you wanted to make some changes elsewhere. But so to keep things simple here, we'll just say on the first line of this file, we'll say my first edit on master branch. And then we can go ahead and save the file. And now that this file has been added, we can do git status to see what Git is tracking. And it says we haven't started tracking this file yet. So to start tracking, we do git add and then the name of the file. And then if you press tab, it will autocomplete it. So we add that file and do git status again. And so we haven't added our first commit yet. So what adding it does is puts it in a bin of things that I want to keep track of. And then when you commit it, that's like pressing the save button on your Word file where you say, okay, I want to remember this state. I want to remember that this file and all the files in this folder looked this way. They had these lines on them. And so we can do git commit /m. That just means add a message to the commit so we can remember it. And we'll just say my commit on master. So because we're on the master branch. All right. And if we do git status, nothing has changed since we made that commit because obviously we just made it. And what that did is that added this dot here, this node, we'll call it, to the graph that is the commit history. Now that's kind of a weird word, but the way Git works is it keeps track of all these different commits as these nodes in like a history record. And so right now, this is what the history looks like. We only have this one dot. The M is for master and one is for the first commit. So the way that this looks like is we've only just done one commit and we haven't done anything else. And what we can now do is make another change to this file. So if we replace first with second to say that this is my second edit on master branch and save it, we can do git status again. And it will let you know, oh, hey, you modified this file. And then you can add it to update, to add it to the list of things we want to update. So we do git add, then my file again. All right, now in git status. Okay, now that it's been added, it's in the bin of, okay, now we need to go add these things. And we want to remember the change we just made. We can do git commit, add a message, my second commit on master. And then you can see nothing's changed since we did that. And what that did is that added a second commit to our history. And you have the old commits pointing to the new commits to show you where the history is going. It's going from old to new. So that's all it looks like. So in this first commit, this file said first. And then the second commit, this file just said second here. And that's all it is. So if I wanted to, for some reason, go back to what I had in the first one, I can do that because it's keeping track of this. Now, what you can do with Git is add different branches. So you can have multiple different things going on at the same time. And so to show you, I'll just do it. So you do git checkout because I'm going to go check this out and see what it looks like. -B stands for branch, so I'm checking out a new branch. Then I name it my branch. Okay, so now I'm on branch, and you notice how it changed from saying master here to my branch. So now I just switched to this new branch. And now what that does is that means both the master and the branch are at this node right here. They both look like this. This file looks like this here. But if I go ahead and make a change to this file, and I say my first edit on my branch and save it here, and we do our git status again, you can see how it shows that the file's been modified. And then we go through the process of adding and committing to go ahead and do that. Now, this is what it looks like. So it's blue for a different branch, and that's where the head is at the top of this. So now on this branch, it looks like this, where we have this first edit here. And so that's cool. And so now if we go back to our master branch, so we go back to here, if you look and we close this file and reopen this, you notice that the change didn't happen. It's like this never happened, because right now we're still at this M2, the second commit on master branch, where we made the second edit. And it's like this one never happened. So now what you can run into a problem is if you do two things that conflict with each other. So let's say, oh, I don't even know what's happening in that other branch, and I just say, hey, let's add a new line of text here. And I say my third edit on master branch. Okay, I'm just adding new things to the thing I was working on master branch. Little known to me that we've had problems in this other branch. And I do a git status, and I see, oh, yep, modified my file. So now I go ahead and add this and say my third. Then I just add another commit. Now, so think about what this is going to look like. It's going to add another node here, the same way I added one where 1 was pointing to 2. Now 2 is pointing to 3. Now I know that in the third commit on master, I have this line here. And I know that on this other branch, this line says my first commit or my first edit on my branch. Now I know that both of those things are in the same spot in the file. So if I tried to put them together, then which one should I keep? If I keep the one on master branch, then I'll lose all the work I did on the other branch. And if I keep the work in my branch, then I'll lose the work on the master branch. So Git, if I wanted to put those two things together, doesn't know which one it should keep. And so that ends up in a merge conflict, and we can see that happening here. So if I check out the other branch, refresh this file, you'll see the first edit being there. So now, right now, I'm on this branch at this node here. And what I can do then is merge to try and get the changes from both. Because let's say I did work in the other one and I did work in this one, and I want to keep both the work. So I want to merge them together. So if I do git merge master, so what that does is that merges master into this branch. We'll see what happens. And it says auto merging ended up in a conflict. And so now there's a merge conflict in the file and it's all failed. So I have to fix the conflicts and then commit the results. So what that means is if you look at the file, you see all this weird stuff here. It added all these things in because this is what I had on my branch and this is what I had on master branch. And it doesn't know which one what I want to keep. So it's just showing me both. And now I can choose which ones I want to have. And so if I only wanted to keep the master branch, I could just go ahead and delete this stuff. If I only wanted to keep the stuff from my branch, I'd just delete this stuff. But I really want to keep both. So what you do is you just add or remove all this other stuff that's just marking the differences. And then now I can keep both right here. So I've resolved the conflict because I said I actually just want to keep both. And then I save the file, and then we can see what Git is doing by doing git status. And it says, okay, I have modified this file. Okay, so to fix it, we do git add my file. So we added the changes that we made to fix the conflict. And then we go ahead and fixed conflict. All right, there you go. All right, and then now, if you look at what just happened in the graph, we added a new commit, a merge commit, where on this branch, we now have the fix for both of them. And right now, we're actually still on the my branch. So the color of this thing actually should be blue because we're still on this branch right now, and master hasn't seen these changes yet. And we can prove that by checking out master. And if I go in and open master, it still just only sees this. So you can see how this one right here has a node that now has all the changes from the branch and master. So that's how you go ahead and fix a merge conflict. And then I would know now that if I merged with my branch, I wouldn't have any conflicts from master because that's already been resolved. So if I do git merge my branch here, then it just went ahead right away and I have both the changes. So because I resolved the merge conflict on my local branch, then when I tried to merge it into master to get those changes on the master branch here, I already had them in my uh, branch. So I didn't have to even worry about it. So that's why when you're working, you fix all the merge conflicts locally on your own branches, and then when you want to deploy them onto the remote master branch where everybody's working, then you know it will work because you already fixed all the changes locally first. And so that's how you can keep track of different versions of files and then fix merge conflicts.